The YoloBox Pro is a super portable multi-camera live streaming solution made for people on the go. It has everything you need to run a live stream except the cameras, all in a neat little 8-inch display. It really is an all-in-one solution. You just plug in a few cameras, turn it on, connect it to the internet, and you are ready to go. You're broadcasting a live stream including with graphics, titles, as well as even video playback from an SD card. And since it is so portable, it seems fitting that I'm filming this video while I'm traveling and not at my normal studio. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the YoloBox Pro, including why you may or may not want to upgrade. Before we get started, I do want to give a quick disclosure. YoloBox did send this to me to check out, and while I really appreciate it, that doesn't give them any control over what I say in this video. And they don't get to look at this video before I post it. Everything in this video is my own opinions because I'm really just trying to make sure that you have all the information you need in order to make an informed decision about your purchases. So with that out of the way, let's get started. First, I want to talk about some of the differences between the YoloBox Pro compared to the original. First of all, it is bigger. It has a bigger screen. It is slightly larger in every dimension, including wider, taller, and deeper. One of the other cosmetic differences I noticed is that there is a rubber edge now around the side instead of the hard plastic like in the original. It is slightly heavier, and there is now also the addition of a fan. It's not terribly loud, but it is audible, whereas in the original one, it was completely silent. One of the most obvious updates you'll notice in the YoloBox Pro is that there are now 3 HDMI ports instead of 2. That means you can now plug in 3 HDMI sources, whether that's cameras or a computer or other switchers. There is also a new USB port. So there are now 3 USB ports. One is just for charging, and there's a USB-C for data, as well as an old USB for data as well. And I have good news about the USB ports. It now supports a wider range of webcams, including the ATEM Mini, as well as the OBSBOT PTZ camera. And inside there is a much more powerful processor, which means there's a lot more opportunity for additional improvements in the future. But we'll get to that later. So what is the same as the original YoloBox? Actually, a lot of it is the same. It still has the same ability to add in graphics, both images and text. You can create rolling captions within the device. There's also the scoreboard feature. And of course, there is the live stream chat overlay as well. You can play back videos from the SD card, and you can record to the SD card as well. And like the original YoloBox, it can connect to the internet via Ethernet, Wi-Fi, or with a SIM card with its built-in LTE modem. So that's a quick overview of the similarities and differences. I now want to talk about why you should upgrade to this, even if you already have the original YoloBox. I think probably the biggest reason to upgrade is if you actually would benefit from the additional HDMI port. I've actually seen quite a lot of setups of people adding additional video switchers into one of the HDMI ports on the original YoloBox so they can get more than 2 cameras. So now with the 3 HDMI ports, that's a lot more possibilities. And another reason you may want to upgrade is if you actually would be able to take advantage of the better webcam support over the USB ports. That means you could do things like have the ATEM Mini plugged in over USB and still have 3 HDMI ports for cameras. But one of the things I'm super excited about the idea of upgrading to this from the original is if you actually use them both together. The original YoloBox can actually live stream to the Pro. So you can take your original YoloBox with 2 cameras plugged in at a remote location, and that live stream can appear inside the YoloBox Pro as another source to cut to. That means you can do some pretty amazing remote contribution workflows with remote sites streaming video back to your main YoloBox. And because both have built-in LTE modems, you can have both in different locations streaming over the internet for some pretty cool remote workflows. So those are just a few reasons I think it would make a lot of sense to upgrade to this, even if you've already purchased the original YoloBox. But I also want to talk about why you may not need to upgrade. If the original YoloBox is working for you, great. I don't think you actually need to upgrade to this. There's a lot of cool things about this one. It does add a lot of new features, and it is going to be expandable in the future in ways that the original one won't be with its more powerful processor. But if the original one is working out for you, then just stick with that, because there's actually not enough added to this to make it enough of a bump up if that one's working fine. So then that begs the question, what if this is your first purchase of a YoloBox and you haven't yet bought one? Should you buy this or the original YoloBox? If you find yourself in that situation, I actually do think this is the better purchase. And the reason for that is because it is more powerful right off the bat. You've got the 3 HDMI ports, which they run out quick, believe me. And with its more powerful processor, it will be more upgradable and expandable in the future. So I do think the YoloBox Pro will have a longer future lifespan if you are considering this as a new purchase right now. This does also explain the price drop of the original YoloBox a few months ago. They knocked the price down $100 or so, and I'm guessing that was in order to make room for the price difference between the YoloBox Pro and the original YoloBox. So now the prices in US dollars are $1,300 for the Pro and $900 for the original. And that actually seems like a reasonable price difference between these two, given the feature set. So lastly, I want to talk about my wish list for things they could add to the YoloBox in the future with firmware updates. While this is a powerful device right now and gives you a lot of flexibility, there are a few improvements they can make that would, I think, significantly improve things. One really cool thing would be able to use this as a webcam in a computer. Just like you can plug in the ATEM Mini into a computer and have it show up in Zoom, you should be able to plug in the YoloBox to a computer and have it show up in Zoom as well. That would just make it really easy to stream to even more platforms than are originally supported in the YoloBox or via RTMP. One feature that would be super useful to power users would be to add in the ability to control it from an external device. Right now, all of the control is done via the touch interface of the device itself. But adding OSC support would mean that you'd be able to control this and script it from other devices like using Companion or a Stream Deck. I think that'd be really powerful for power users who are using this in conjunction with other devices in their setup. Lastly, this one's kind of a minor annoyance, but I feel like it'd be really useful to be able to queue up multiple clips from the SD card. Right now, when you add a clip from the SD card, you can only add one clip and you have to remove it before you can add another one. For running shows for other people, it's not that awkward, but if you're running a show yourself, it's a lot nicer to have the intro and the outro videos queued up already, and then you can just tap to play each one. So I do feel like that would really improve things as I'm using this in my own workflows, since I really just stream by myself. But overall, I'm really impressed with the YoloBox Pro. I feel like they did a lot of things right. It's a solid upgrade from the original YoloBox, and it's great to see them continue to push this form factor forward. Let me know down in the comments the features you would like to see in a firmware update for the YoloBox Pro or the original YoloBox. And join me in a future live stream on my channel. I'm always happy to answer questions about the YoloBox Pro or anything relating to live streaming. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.